Okay, important lesson everyone. Always remember to record your progress if you want to be a content creator. I started designing an interior to the second story of the structure that I'll show you a little later in the video. This is just the beginning section, but now that we know the palette, I'm going to go ahead and repeat the style a couple more times in a little montage. Hallway done, and now it's time for our first feature room. An armory fit to store armor and weapons and other stuff that clinks. The space is pretty square and I like the open feel of it, and I'm hoping that I still appreciate the shape and feel once I decorate in here. And boom, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you what I've been up to. The walls are textured deep slate blocks with complementary weathered copper pillars. I've also added a brown block in the walls every now and again where the pillars have corroded the walls slightly. I've also added some bookshelves or barrels paired with textured packed mud blocks to the hallway in order to make sure the space gives off a grounded earthy tone. As we come around the corner, this hall has the same palette but is uniquely its own. There's the shelving, slightly different to the ones I've done, and at the end of the hall I've just added a little compost converter unit. And here it is. Do you remember the last episode when Lovebite and I went to go and battle in the trial chamber? Well, I've decided to add those drops into this little room for the armory. So I've just added some little armor stands and little nooks and crannies every now and again, and underneath each of them is just where I'm adding the extra armor that we collect along the way. Eventually I can see the walls being lined with the weapons that we accumulate from like end raiding and probably pillager drops and stuff like that, just cool little trinkets every now and again. And here's my little mezzanine nook for the armory. So we come up the ladder and here's my little furnace in the corner. It's automated if I want it to be. A bed if I need to sleep. It's safe up here so I don't have to worry about mobs attacking me. And the rest of the room is pretty cool from up here. There's another ladder just on this side, and you can see I've kept the shape of the room like I wanted and the openness, because imagine if a castle's getting attacked, right, all the soldiers are coming straight into the armory and they need just to be easily accessed. At the end of the hall I decided to decorate this cracked wall, basically just to show the outsides coming in, because I want to show that light tone contrasting with the dark tone of the interior, which I think is super cool. And then we come down to this end of the hallway, and here is a little feature arch, I'm not sure, like an indoor shrine to the badger moles. So if you've heard of these creatures before, they're off the Avatar animated series, and their lore comes from the story of Amashu, right? And I just wanted to pay homage, and that's what this whole castle is about. Along here I've made a stairwell, or at least the beginnings of one. I don't really know how I want this to continue upwards, but I think this is the palette I'm going to go with for now. It could change in the future, but I don't know until I actually get on with it. But at this point I was feeling a little bit like done with the interior build. So again, I started on the stairwell on this end, Unsure if I'm gonna make another one at this end. I might just decorate this corner and just leave that be closed off. Unsure right now. Anyway, I'm super happy with how everything turned out in here. I think it looks amazing. But right now, I need to take you back to the starter base where I had a couple special guests join me. So late one afternoon, my son Hika came to me saying that his friend Rise was bragging about his stacked Minecraft world. And he said, bro, if you want to see a stacked world, I'll show you one. And asked if he could bring him on the server, which, as the ever gracious host that I am, I quickly declined and offered to take them both on a tour around the world, which doesn't have that much in it at the moment, but my son really likes my building, so he's super biased and wants to show it off any chance he gets, which is the main reason why I jump into these worlds, to encourage my kids to get on there and be creative themselves. Anyway, I thought while I had them with me, I would ask them to help me with a little problem I'm having at the end of the world, if you know what I mean. So, I plotted in our coordinates. I added the pearls to the gate in order for us to step through, sleep in a bed, set our spawn, and they jumped in without setting their spawns. So, oh well, YOLO. There's only one thing left for me to do. And if you can't beat them, that's right. Just join them. And here, you can see it didn't take us that long to take this bad ass lady down, but I just wanted to show my 2 cents worth of me trying to help with the whole fight. The boys had already taken the pillars down by the time I got in there, and the dragon basically didn't stand much of a chance. As you can see, I've decided to use healing tipped arrows because the dragon is undead, and undead mobs get hurt by healing arrows, unlike us who get health back from healing arrows. So I decided I'm just gonna stand on my little perch now that I'm up here while I let the boys do the hard yards. Eventually, what I want to ideally do in this world is fight the dragon as many more times. I think 19 more times is the limit for the dragons in the world to open up each of the end gates. And then eventually, way down the track, hopefully turn the end island into something pretty cool that I have in mind. But as you can see, it's only a minute later and the dragon is down. And of course the boys took the XP, which is fine by me. I've got enough. Not like XP's hard to come by. As I reached in to get torches, one of the boys had hit the dragon egg and said that the egg went through the portal, which I've never heard of before. So he went back home to try and find it. To all of our surprise, he couldn't. So I'm hoping eventually when I come back here, I might spot it. I was more focused on going for Elytra's next more than worrying about the dragon egg. Because if it's meant to be, eventually I'll find it. And again, the boys beat me to even pillaring up to this end gate. So this is Hika with me now. While he builds up to the gate, I decide to collect me some blocks that I know I'm gonna need in order to bridge across these islands to get to the end cities. Unsure how much I'm gonna need, but I'll grab more along the way. I have ender pearls on me now. Up the end gate, and here we go. Rice is already said he'll catch up with us soon. Although I know he wanted to head in his own direction to find his own Elytra. Hika didn't realise I was in the tree, so he just collapsed it, not thinking about my well-being, but it's fine, I lived, it's all good. And then we decided, let's go north try and find the end city with a ship, try and gather some blocks along the way to make all the bridges we need to. For better or for worse, this is our home now, and hopefully we get our elytra soon. Oh my gosh, guys, can you... Like, I didn't want to face the dragon, not because I didn't want to battle against it, but it feels like once you get your elytra, you're in the end game. And I honestly, like, still feel like I'm very much in the starter game still. So, admittedly, we saw a couple cities bridging along the way, but none of them had ships on them, so we carried on. And we eventually made it to this city. And I was all like, heck yeah, let's go. I got a city with a ship on it. I need to get to this city and see that the ship is actually at the city beyond that. So Heka carried on while I decided to beat these guys up in anger. And also to get some shocker shells and see where it goes from there. He carried on to the ship, and I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna make my way over there. Oh, there's a second ship. How about I make my way to Hiko? He gets the first elytra. I tell him where to go to get the second elytra, and then we can both help out Rise and Lovebite with their own after we both have a pair of our own. And so that's what we did. This is just me heading over to him now. And weirdly enough, as we were bridging out in the end, there was a lag spike. And although thankfully I was collecting blocks, Rise was bridging. And when the lag spike hit, we all rubber banded slightly. I got pushed back a couple blocks, so flying monkey. I got pushed a couple blocks back, which was fine for me, but he lost the blocks underneath him and fell into the void. So poor Rise lost all his armor and tools that he had on him and rage quit and didn't want to come back into the world right now. He just needed a bit of a cooldown period. So to make up for it, Hika and I carried on in the end and said we'd grab him an elytra while we're out there just to make up for us. The poor thing losing everything in the void like that. That's the worst, right? The only good part, I guess, is that this isn't hardcore, so we don't have to worry about losing the world over it, you know? But while I waited, I decided to make us a few rockets, so even though our elytra won't be enchanted because I forgot an anvil, we could still use them for the little distance we needed to go over, and Heka only needed to go over to the next city to get my elytra. And in the background I spotted another ship, so that's 3 out of the 4 elytras we need right now. Eventually I'll come back out here at a later date to get more elytras as backups. But for now, yay! Elytra, all mine. We're in the end game now, baby. So, I said my goodbyes to Hika, told him to go and get Rise a elytra, and I headed off to this ship in close distance to get Lovebite and elytra. Now, as much as I want to show you guys more of the end busting I did, which honestly wasn't that much more, and I'm sure you've seen it a million times before as well, unfortunately Rise jumped back on and started using a little XP farm that we have, and it started to lag out the rest of the server. So for what I can show, this is just me grabbing a couple things before it was just a slideshow basically. So, spear elytra obtained. What's in the chest? Efficiency 3 shovel. A few diamonds, which I always say yes to. And basically, my job in the end is done. Can't ask for much more than that. Oh, also, I covet chests, right? Use them for shulkers, to make shulker boxes. Use them in all my storage areas. I will never say no to a chest. Anyway, happened to come across another ship before leaving the end. And you can already see how bad that lag is, but got me a spear. Headed out. Back to our wonky little end island bridge. I think I forgot at this point that I had elytras now, so I'm still used to walking everywhere. But this is really weird. You see this? I had to cross 2 islands just to get to the main end island. Anyway, I had also met back up with Heka, and his last enderpearl spawned an endermite that attacked me, which instantly attracted the enderman. And I was back in the overworld, safe and sound. Rise had made a portal before we left, but never lit it. I don't think I'm going to keep it, because I'd rather keep the one that's upstairs in the desert itself. But right now, I need to head back down this hallway and back up the stairs to go back home. At the top, and here it is, ladies and gentlemen, my sandcastle. This took me 2 weeks, in all honesty, to build, because I didn't just want to build a front facade. This thing is a full 360 castle build. It's my ode to Amashu. If you know Avatar or the storyline at all, Amashu is the city that Bumi is the king of, the Earth King Bumi. And Amashu, I believe, is made out of, well, all the pictures I've seen of it is very rock formation type in a cave kind of look, and I just wanted to build it up like it was a big sandcastle on the beach in order to pay homage to Amashu, because I think that's such a super cool city. The live action version of the program really does a good job of how those buildings would look. And yeah, each side is uniquely its own. I took castle ideas from different castles, pictures that I've seen around the world, and just amalgamated them into, like if you were dumping a pile of sand, like if you had a pail of sand at the beach and just dumped it on top of each other, and this would be what you get out of it. That was my idea of it all. And yeah, she's so cool. Now, admittedly, originally I wanted to put a raid farm at the top of it, but when it came to the final build and actually building right up to the tippy top, I didn't want to leave it uncovered or leaves covering the whole thing. I just think it would ruin the aesthetic of it, so I'll get to a raid farm somewhere else eventually, but for now, Amashu, or my sandcastle, is fully built on the exterior and has this cool little second story floor, decorated and furnished. And funnily enough, this isn't even going to be my castle. This is going to Love Bite. She already loves it. I told her I would build an area for her to house her camels, And although they may not be living in the castle, I don't know. She could put them in the castle, it's her castle. But in my head, they won't be living in the castle. Eventually, I want to build a couple more smaller structures, but still similar in style to this one, to make this more like a Mashu city, you know? A couple more sandcastles in the area just to give it a city vibe, and then one of those smaller builds could possibly house her camels. And the whole idea for this area is so she can grow plants and vegetation. So all the flower farms will go out here. There's a little river outside of here that we can make a squid farm out of it and get the black ink that way. You know, cool little just ways of putting function and form together and still have it aesthetically pleasing, you know? Anyway, that's all for future episodes. Right now, I think I'm done. This took me so long to get together, and I'm so glad to have shared it with you. I hope you guys like the sandcastle and have enjoyed the video. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, or leave a like on the video. It really helps. Until the next video, everybody. Alola! Bye!